Well, hello there, guys. We are just now about to start the stream. Hope you guys are ready to stop in and have a look. Looks like we've already got some people here, of course, from the YouTube group. So it's good to see you guys here. Welcome, guys. I'm going to jump into the chat room here for the YouTube group. So let's do that. Get into the live streaming for you guys. And here we are. Okay, guys, very good to see you all. Let's see if we've got some folks on Twitch that are connecting. We've got 2 people on Twitch. Very, very cool. I am going to allow this ad to play because I just want to make sure that Twitch is running fine as well. Let's take a look, and things should be going okay. If you guys are having any issues, make sure to let us know. So, guys, we are going to get started right here on the Civil War 2 stream. And I'm going to go ahead and get a new game going. So, of course, another thing to keep in mind is this game is currently 50% off. Quite a nice bargain. How's it going, Tescure? And let me know if you can see everything okay. Pretty nice bargain, obviously, for the game. And definitely a time to go ahead and pick this thing up. It's one of the best simulations I've seen of the Civil War. And we're going to be playing some of the shorter scenarios. We're not going to necessarily do the full campaign. I might do the full campaign just to show you some of the possibilities within the full campaign. But I think we're going to just keep it to the smaller campaigns, the not so complex ones. And I think we'll start off with Bull Run 1861, only 5 turns. And this time I'm actually going to play as the South. Now, obviously, winning as the South is quite a challenge in just about any of the campaigns. It's not an easy fight, but we've got General Beauregard here, and I'm pretty sure he can hold off the enemy at least a little bit while we get into position. Of course, we've got a lot of movement we need to do. We need to make sure that our units are well trained. We need to make sure that they're in specific corps. The first thing I'm going to do is take Magruder here, and I'm going to move him by train to the front. Now with Beauregard, I'm pretty sure Beauregard already has command of the Army of the Potomac, and indeed he does there. There's not really much we have to do with him. However, we would probably do a good deed by making sure that this general, he's part of the Army of the Shenandoah. It's probably a good idea to go ahead and separate a few units from his army and create more armies, or instead add some more units here, because we definitely are in need of just a few more units. Now, we do have some lists of available regional decisions. One of the ones I love is the Copperheads. Copperheads are essentially Northerners that support the South. So I'm going to go ahead and put the Copperheads right here, where Joseph E. Johnston is leading the Army of the Shenandoah. We can also start setting up some partisan attacks or ambushes. I'm going to put one right there. I'm also going to put some defensive works right here where Beauregard is. Again, I want to make absolutely sure that he's safe and protected. And let's take a look here at the chat room. First of all, welcome everybody. It's good to see you. Hey, Wavell, and hello, Tesker. 20 people on Twitch. Awesome, guys. 20 on Twitch, 8 on YouTube. Very, very happy. Very glad to see you guys here. So, once again, Twitch beats YouTube. Actually, last time we had YouTube beat Twitch, which was pretty cool. But it's good to see you. And there is Yogic Fire. How are you doing, man? And Braganzo. Hello, Braganzo. So guys, so far all we're really trying to do is get these armies ready. This is just the Battle of Bull Run. We're doing a very short scenario initially, and then of course we'll move on to more complex scenarios so that I could show you guys some of the different things you could do within the game, etc. I definitely want to get this guy over where Beauregard is, and we've already dropped some decisions here. I think that's pretty much it for decisions. We don't need to worry about them too much now, so we're going to end the turn, and let's hope we don't get into some sort of fight here. I really would prefer to avoid any fights, especially initially. And actually, we already had a fight. There's something I got to do here with the options, guys. So I haven't seen this in a lot of other Ageod games, but in this one, in Civil War 2, you just want to go ahead and jump to, not regroup armies. Actually, the end of each turn, the armies are stacked together in each region. No, I don't necessarily like that. Although, could happen, could be helpful if you're new to the game. We're just going to put on pause after battle. So this is going to allow us to basically, whenever a battle occurs, we can see its results. So we're going to take a look at the first battle we had. We've lost a battle in the United States of America, but it's good to see that our partisans have started engaging the enemy here. So that's definitely a good sign, but let's take a look here at the battle itself. And yeah, that pretty much makes sense. The Battle of Alexandria defenses. Our boys, actually partisans, got off 30 shots. But of course 30 of them went down, and actually they killed 30 cavalry and 30 infantry. Not bad for a force of 60 facing a force of thousands. So we can see right here we've already got some generals moving up. I'm going to take our Copperheads and merge them into Joseph E. Johnston's army. I would love to get some more men into this army, but right now that might be a little bit difficult. Thank you, Kangax. He says, I love this kind of simple but complex in code background. Reminds me of the good old games from the 90s, beginning of 2000s. Those were the days, says Yogic Fire, and yes, those were the days. But this is a great one, and obviously, before you jump in, I would recommend you take a look at the tutorial. If you guys take a look here at the command display, there's a lot of different things that you need to focus on. You can obviously create new armies. You can remove corps from the army. There's all sorts of positives and negatives to doing that, of course, so we're not going to really touch on them right now. Now, I don't like the enemy being over here in Pridetown, West Virginia. And does anybody actually know, wondering here, just going back to some Civil War history, do any of you guys know why West Virginia separated from Virginia? Let's see if somebody actually knows the answer to this question. I'm actually going to move Johnston up, and I'm going to try to go to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia here. I didn't want to have to go on the offensive immediately, but I think it might not be such a bad idea. As for going on the offensive here at Fairfax, I'm not sure I want to do that. I think I want to go on the offensive over here in Loudoun, Virginia. So let's go ahead and go to Loudoun. And let's make sure we don't have any other units. We do have a few units that are already moving up. Magruder as well as Huger here. And hopefully they can make it to the front pretty quickly. But really, I'm just trying to avoid as many losses as possible. Yes, very, very true, Wavell. They were, in other words, the West Virginians were pro-Union, but yes, some of them did own slaves, which was a weird trade-off, for sure. Let's take a look here and see if we can do anything in terms of reinforcements. I don't think we want to spend too much on reinforcements right now. Just get a small amount. And now we're going to end the turn, guys, and hope for the absolute best. Now, we are on the offensive. Going on the offensive this early on is risky, but that's a Confederate victory against the War of Northern Aggression. Of course, it looks like we are the aggressors. Maybe that's what we should have been doing all along. Look at that. So 593 down on our side, 1,199 on the enemy side. They've got some men, but we have way more, as you can see here. We've also got some Zouaves. The enemy has some Zouaves. And does anybody know the story behind the Zouaves? So one really cool thing, and Beauregard is doing what Beauregard does best, crushing the enemy. One really cool thing about the actual Zouave Legion is that they train very differently from a lot of the other, not the Legion, but the Zouave Brigade trained a lot differently than a lot of the other brigades. They even actually had rules, for instance, not to stand shoulder to shoulder like the other brigades did. And another thing that I think is really interesting about the Zouaves is when they reloaded, instead of just reloading standing up like most men did, the Zouaves actually learned to lie on their backs, reload their guns, and then fire, which I'm sure probably helped them avoid a tremendous amount of casualties. And speaking of casualties, right here, Battle of Harper's Ferry, guys, this is actually one of the best known battles of the war. We've just recreated it with a victory for the Confederacy, and General Robert Patterson is definitely in some trouble. Let's see if we took some units, and yes, number of prisoners taken expressed in conscript points, 12. Oh, wow. So that's quite a lot of enemy units here. Now, of course, the enemy is still here. The army of General Robert Patterson is still here. Pretty sure we could just pretty much crush him. I want to go ahead and merge that cannon, merge this cannon as well with General Johnston. It's probably time for us to go ahead and build some sort of area here that we could, you know, like some sort of depot for us to start raising some more men. But I'm thinking right now we've got to get this guy out of our territory. So I'm going to go for just a regular attack here. And hopefully while this is happening, things are improving. Let's take a look. Let's take back the yes from the Illuminati. We got some interesting comments. And welcome everybody. Wow, guys, 33 on Twitch. How many do we have on YouTube? 10. Welcome to all of you guys. So one good bit of news, I'm sure a lot of you are aware, is that this game is currently it's actually on sale, so you should absolutely head over to the main site, the main Matrix site. And remember, when you buy the game on the Matrix site, you not only get a copy of the game there, you also get a game code for Steam. So whether you buy it there or Steam really doesn't make too much of a difference when it really comes down to it. One thing I'm going to do here, we already have a penalty with the Army of the Potomac, and I don't want to attack with a penalty, so I'm actually going to stop that. I'm going to try to get Beauregard back to Fauquier, Virginia. And I'm also going to move Magruder up here. And I think we're going to try to fix this army, because right now, it looks like Johnston has his army going, and of course, we've got Beauregard over here with his own army, but he should be doing better than that. I mean, the penalty should not be that high, and I'm starting to wonder why that happened. I really have no idea. We're going to end the turn here. Hope for the best. Come on, boys. Let's make sure to get them out of Harper's Ferry. Ooh. Oh, victory at the Alexandria defenses. I'm starting to think we should have stayed there, but I think we made the right move getting the hell out of there. And look at that. We lost 2,902 men. We killed 6,150 Yankees, and that is a hell of a victory. So I'll take that. But I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. As you can see over here, we're still having to fight the enemy here at Harper's Ferry. And in fact, we could take a quick look right now at the actual objectives. And of course, the objective is going to be Washington, D.C. So really, we're trying to kill more of the enemy than they kill of us. There's no way we're going to win via victory points if we have to take D.C. We're just not going to be able to get there. And quite honestly, I've watched quite a lot of history shows. I've studied the American Civil War a lot as well. The chances of the Confederates ever even being able to besiege Washington and take it are extremely unlikely. Unless they got some support from the British or the French, it just wouldn't have been possible. I mean, Washington was, as it is today, a veritable fortress, and it was going to be very hard to actually take that area from any enemies. So I am going to try to attack. I don't think we should, but I'm going to try to take Fairfax, Virginia with Beauregard. And, of course, here on Joseph E. Johnston's army, I'm going to attack to Frederick, Maryland. And I hope we get an attack on the way. I hope we get a hit on the way, I should say. Now, this I don't like. It looks like Benjamin Butler is kind of chasing us right now. It's not what I was looking forward to. But let's hope the rest of these attacks go according to plan. I am going to try to bring some reinforcements there. You can see we definitely need some line infantry. Unfortunately, we don't have hardly any money whatsoever. Let's see what we can do over here. So we can do a partisan ambush, partisan raid. Nope, not right now, and we can't drop partisans anywhere as of right this second. I am going to use a landmine, make it a little easier for our guys to get in. You have to remember, during this time period, all a landmine really did was essentially blew a hole through a wall. And that works for me. I mean, whatever works, right? Love to see a Tigers on the Hunt stream, says Ansbach. That's absolutely a possibility. Sell some slaves, says Yokic Fire. I'm not sure if we can, but yeah, interesting suggestion too. That would be a pretty interesting addition to the game, although I'm sure that we'd be chased out of the industry. Can you explain the numbers and figures on the battle screen, please? What do the heart symbols mean? We will definitely take a look at those, Philxanus, in the battle, so that we can take a look. I don't know what every single one of them means myself. So let's go ahead and continue here, and we'll try to examine the battle a little closer. All right, so here we go. So we actually won in Alexandria. So, for instance, let's take a look at Holmes' brigade. This first number explains that our unit had a medium hit probability this round. This next one, the men in your unit were fatigued during this round. So obviously with fatigue, they're not going to fight as well. There's going to be some issues there. A nearby supply source increased the combat prowess of the unit in this round. Now, this is why it's so important to build those depots that we've been building, because the depots will bring supplies to your men. They'll bring bullets. They'll bring all sorts of supplies, food, etc., to help them survive. Our emplaced artillery batteries open a devastating fire on the enemy. So if you stay here a little longer than usual, or if you have a fort, or if you're actually within the city itself, there is a button to enter the city, then in this case, your cannons are going to be stronger. In this case, the reason that our artillery was in place is because we were besieging the city. And the unit managed to hit the enemy with several lucky shots, but through bad luck, our unit missed enemies several times in a row. So these are each of the sort of combat elements that occur during the battle. Now up here, we've got the percentage of units which were supplied during the battle, which is 100%. That's perfect. Percentage of units which had ammunition during the battle, once again, 100%. No surprise achieved during this battle. Sometimes, especially in the way you set up your fight, you can have a nice ambush going. No units were inside a city during the battle, and no units received a trench bonus. No units tried to retreat, and we did manage to take quite a number of prisoners. I can't wait to take a look look there, see what they're like. Very interesting things here. So yeah, I think the Tigers on the Hunt is a really interesting suggestion, and definitely something we would schedule near the future. I'm really proud, guys, of all the people here. I didn't think that a game that's a little bit older like Civil War II would bring this many viewers, so I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Oh Lord, that was painful. So despite the fact that we probably fought a lot better than the enemy here, the battle occurred with the attacker crossing a river. Any defending unit received a bonus modifier. So in this case, we were defending. That's probably why we got more kills on the enemy than they did on us. The problem is we just don't have enough men to challenge General Irvin McDowell's force. So we've got to find other ways to win, essentially. There's any number of ways to win. We could try to destabilize their forces behind the lines, try to create some partisan groups. We could send our other generals to attack elsewhere. We could even try to merge all our generals together and hit this guy as hard as we can, although typically that doesn't work too well. By the way, look at that sharpshooter unit with the green. It just looks really, really cool. All right, let's end the turn. And of course, we're going to have to move back with good old General Johnston. Now that Beauregard holds this area, I'm going to go ahead and try to build a depot here. And I'm also going to bring John B. Magruder here, because we're actually going to try to split these armies in two. We've got a few 2-star generals here. No, we just have 1-star generals, damn it. Well, maybe when Huger's force arrives, he's a 1-star general as well. We can do something here and try to split these armies up a bit, because right now they're not looking great, to be honest with you. And the enemy's not exactly taking territory, but we need to get these guys back up to full strength. Maybe we need to go ahead and pillage an area. It might be time for that. So if we pillage, we not only, with Scorched Earth, we lose loyalty, and of course we gain 10 development points, but we lose 5 victory points. That's not necessarily going to bring us any cash. Plundering, on the other hand, can only target disloyal small towns. I think we should go for plunder. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to plunder Frederick, Maryland. I hope it's going to bring us some money. I don't like plundering, but war is war. Total inflicted, the 2 numbers against total inflicted. Let's take a look here. We can actually jump back to the battle. Hold on 1 second, my friend. Okay, so, and I hope these are the ones you're asking for. Total inflicted. So this over here, I guess would be the charisma morale. Again, I'm not 100% sure. With an Ageod game, you definitely need to look into it and play quite a bit before you understand totally what's going on. But I'm pretty sure this is our sort of charisma, our men's ability to carry out the fight. And over here, I'm actually not entirely sure. I think this is the cohesion of the actual unit, and cohesion is increased basically by not fighting. So for instance, if I start moving an army constantly, every single turn I get, that cohesion is going to go down, and the attack power that you see, this 507, that's going to go down as well, because the men are tired, they're moving around all the time, they're wasting their supplies. Now, if you keep a unit in this area, and you see these 3 bars next to them, that's the cohesion. That cohesion is going to increase, and ultimately you're going to have a much stronger unit. Of course, you kind of have to weigh these things out, because you've got to attack. At the same time, you can't just be attacking all the time. You've got to also take a break a bit. I hope that kind of makes sense. Wavell says, bought this game at a Steam sale recently, would strongly recommend playing the tutorials a couple of times. Absolutely true. And actually, even before I did this stream, I played the tutorials, and I still need to go back and play a little bit more of the tutorials to learn more. It's definitely something to check out. And yes, absolutely. Big game coming out soon. Gary Grisby's War in the West out in a few days on Steam. Yogic Fire is absolutely correct. And it is probably the most realistic World War II simulator I've ever seen in my life. It's taking, I'm still reading the manual for it. It's as big as the Bible. It's huge. I think I'm going to be ready. Right? I am going to be ready for that stream, so bear with me. Now let's end the turn here. Turn it over to the Union side. Oh boy, and that's a Confederate victory. Look at that, 891 we lost, and the enemy General Nathaniel Banks lost 4,692. Obviously crossing a river once again. I think he was crossing a river. Was he? Maybe not this time. Nearby supply source. So what did we do better? Our deadly fire ravaged the enemy ranks. The unit destroyed at least one enemy element this round. So this is Stonewall's brigade. And for those of you that know Thomas Stonewall Jackson, this guy is a legend. And obviously I can see why he did so well there against the enemy. When you got Stonewall Jackson on your side, you're going to do pretty damn well. Now we did manage to get our unit back, and it was a minor defeat, a loss by victory points. Golly me. Well, we did lose. I'm going to take a look here at the objective screen. So this is going to show us how many men we lost and how many men the enemy lost, as well as the victory points that we gain and our national morale. If you take a look here, we took 7,600 Union prisoners. We also killed 18,304 Union men, and we only lost 6,891. Now, in terms of body count, I think we should have won this one. I think we should have absolutely won. But probably the reason we didn't is the enemy still held Washington, D.C., and we didn't take any of the major cities here. Montgomery's one of them. Even Prince George you can consider a pretty big city. Baltimore, of course, a huge city. So we absolutely need to improve this. All right, let's take a look here. We're trying to read from both screens. We don't have many people typing on our YouTube screen. That's okay, though. We've got all the friends on Twitch that we need. No, but seriously, guys, make sure to subscribe to both. We appreciate it when you guys do that. So we're going to move this general back, and with the Army of the Shenandoah, I'm just going to rest and recuperate. I'm pretty good at resting anyway, so I think I'm going to do very well here. I'm a guy that likes to rest, like my naps. So let's see if this works. Now, of course, the problem here is Huger's force is going to have to face the Army of the James, and they're not going to be able to stop them. The Army of the James is actually coming from Fort Monroe. For those of you that don't know, Fort Monroe is one of the few sort of Union forts that was actually deep in Confederate territory, and there were actually a few of these on either side. And this fort is it's a nice one. It's a big one. I want to see here if I can build a depot. Let's hope we can before the enemy attacks. And with Beauregard, I'm going to have to separate some of his generals. So I'm actually going to take Longstreet. I love General Longstreet. And I'm going to see if... Okay, he's actually already part of the Army of the Potomac. Fair enough. I'm going to add some men to Longstreet's brigade. 20% penalty, man. Unfortunately, our generals right now are not exactly the best. Well, it's better than a 40% or 35% penalty, so I know Beauregard is definitely strong right now. We're going to go ahead and attack with Beauregard. We will, of course, do an assault. If you're actually going to take a town or a city or something like this, you do need to be in the assault phase. Depending on the amount or lack thereof of supplies, etc., that assault phase could take a little while. As for Johnston, we're just going to keep him here. We're going to play just a few more turns because I want to try to get a few more kills. And then, of course, we'll try another scenario. Wavell says he's new to Ageod. I have Civil War II and To End All Wars. Of the two games, would recommend Civil War II because the armies are much smaller and easier to manage. Absolutely. Absolutely, Wavell. You know, I'm actually doing a To End All Wars campaign on my channel, and it is very, very long. It's a wonderful game. It's an incredible game. The amount of casualties will astound you and are quite similar to the actual World War I statistics. But yes, there's a lot of different armies to manage, and especially when you take the smaller campaigns here in Civil War II, you're going to get a better experience in terms of really being able to control things. If you do the Grand Campaign, make sure you've read up on your Civil War history, because if you have, you're actually going to do yourself a huge, huge favor. So let's go ahead and end the turn, and let's hope that Beauregard can take out the enemy here at Prince George, Maryland. That's Confederate defeat. Here we go, boys. Confederate defeat, and that time the enemy actually did a pretty good job. Well, hell, nonetheless, it was a Confederate defeat, but the enemy still retreated, and we've got the stars and bars flying over Prince George, Maryland. So now, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to get out of here, and we're going to do a new game once again. Now, these are all of the different scenarios. I'll let you guys take a look. You could just focus on the east if you don't want to focus on the entire war. This is also pretty useful. You could just focus on the west if you want to focus on the western half of the war. And it's actually a part of the war I knew very little about. I'm going to play the Make Georgia Howl. Now, this is going to have to be a Union campaign. So I'm going to play as the Union. And, of course, we need to try and break the Confederate morale. We also have to try to control Memphis, Nashville, Richmond, and New Orleans. And for those of you that don't know, Richmond is a hard road to travel. It's Civil War song. I just decided to throw that out there. Richmond is the capital of the Confederacy, and quite strong, as you can imagine. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to try to separate these generals. We've got the great General Sherman right there. And I'm going to try to drop this guy in. There's an 11% penalty on Sherman. I don't like that one bit, but 11% is not the end of the world for me. I can work with it. I know that General Sherman is Army of the Cumberland for sure. Let's make sure that this guy is part of his Army of the Cumberland. So we'll go to the military phase here. I don't want him to evade combat, and it looks like he is part of the Corps under Sherman already. Okay, very good. So we're going to move Sherman down 10 days. We're going to move this feller down 8 days. And we're going to move this feller down too, all 3 at once. And of course, we'll put all of them on an assault posture. Make sure that these guys are ready for battle. No matter what happens, we should be able to take this area. Up here, we're also going to form some more armies. It looks like we've got General James McPherson. Let's throw Dodge in there. That's only a 4% penalty. I can definitely live with that. But I want to try to go for the Confederate cities. So let's try to get to Dawson, Georgia. It's going to take a while to get there. 40 days. My goodness. 40 days ain't playing around. And this unit has a 35% penalty. We definitely want to do something about that. For now, I'm just going to use him as sort of just a frustrating little splinter for the enemy to have to deal with here. I want to see if we can move him with the trains, but since we're so close to enemy lines, it's clear the trains aren't going to really do much for us. Let's see, not yet, but I have seen the game demonstrated on Twitch. Yes, Rise of Prussia Gold is a great game on Spock. I really love it. There's actually very few Ageod games I don't like. Aliacta Est is the one that really got me started with Ageod, but yes, all excellent games. Let's take a look here. Wars in America 2. I've been wanting to play, and we've actually had some issues here at the office getting it to work on our PCs. I really wanted to do a Wars in America 2 stream, but I'm just not sure it's going to be possible. We're going to have to see if we can figure out what's going on. Could be that it's like a new version of Windows, and it is a slightly older game, but I'd love to see it pop up. And Kutya, it's good to see you too, man. It's good to see all of you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and jump back in. We've got another force here, so these guys are moving. They're going where they've got to go. And I'm going to take the 23rd Corps here. Wait a minute. 16, 19, 10. Yeah, I think we're just going to have to send this guy out alone. 26 days. And with this guy, I'm just basically cutting through North Carolina just to make it harder on the Confederates, really. That's my goal, just make their job a lot harder. We also have a lot of Confederate stuff over here to the west near the Mississippi, but I'm more focused on their southeastern locations. That's what I really want to destroy. Let's see if we can do anything in terms of decisions. So habeas corpus. Now, this is very interesting stuff. Suspending habeas corpus. Habeas corpus is your right to a fair trial, basically. During war, it's happened in the United States recently even, you can actually take away a citizen's right to trial. And some people disagree with that, but it's going to actually increase our loyalty in a region. It's going to cost us 3 victory points, and the city regions with 25 to 75% loyalty can be targeted. So I'm going to be dropping habeas corpus right here on the city of Hamilton, Tennessee. Obviously, folks in Tennessee are not too keen on having Yankees walking around their streets. We need to make sure that they understand that we're here to stay, and there's nothing they can do about it. Let's end the turn. Let's hope for the best. For Lincoln and liberty, boys. For Lincoln and liberty. Here we go. There we go. Oh yeah, and that's a Union victory, although partially because our army is a bit larger by 20,000. You can see here, even though the casualties are pretty heavy, we lost way more men. And this is creepy. 666. The 666 is just a little creepy. So that's the Battle of Rome. And wow, just look at all of these divisions we had. It looks like one of our divisions under Stanley got wiped out, but we've just got so many different men here. We absolutely outnumber the enemy. A lot of cavalry all the way from Indiana. We've got Indiana cavalry, we've got Illinois cavalry brigades, Iowa cavalry brigades, Ohio infantry. Just got, you know, men from all across the country ready and willing to fight. So let's hope that we can keep on moving forward. Oh, another battle. And my goodness, Sherman took another beating there, but it is a Union victory once again. I mean, it's not always about body count. You know, the idea of body count really came around during the Vietnam War. In the Civil War and many of these older wars, it really was about taking locations. Let's take a look here. New to Asia, blah, blah, blah. Tennessee Free Whiskey Buff. Oh, hands back. Oh, somebody wants to mod the game and throw in a free whiskey buff. That would be perfect. Another battle. Another Union victory, but you can see they're just bleeding our army little by little. Another Union victory there, 1,300 gen on Joseph E. Johnston's side. So we got 3 victories there, but Johnston is still sticking around, and that's the frustrating part. Getting this guy to pull back, it's going to take us a while. I really think it's going to take us quite a while. And once again, a Union victory, and once again, very much similar stuff going on here. I'm not sure what we're going to do. And now, finally, Johnston is starting to get the hang of it. He managed to beat us. That was like the 5th Battle of Rome. The Battle of Rome was like a battle that has gone on several days now, as you can see, and it's getting bloody, but I think they're going to be able to force us back. Once again, another Union defeat. Yeah, Sherman's going to get the hell out of here. If he doesn't get the hell out of here, he's going to have a lot of issues. So I think I am going to take Sherman, move him back. 20 days, holy hell, just to get back to our region is going to take a while. I'm going to take this guy, and I'm going to try to get to Dawson over here. We also have this general trying to move to Dawson, and this general, the 23rd Corps, has already taken part of Tennessee. Another thing that I think is pretty interesting about the game, well, first of all, I guess we can't move there, but we're already moving to Green, Tennessee. Much like the English Civil War, which you guys should definitely check that out. If we mouse over a region, do you guys see the tooltips there that like show us the support? So in other words, in this area in Knoxville, Tennessee, looks like 75% are pro-Union, 25% are pro-Confederacy. If we go over here to a more Confederate region, for instance, let's go to Georgia, Dawson, Georgia, and over here 20% are Union, 80% are Confederates. All of these things go into whether or not you can hold a region, how long you can hold a region, etc. You want to absolutely keep them in mind. Another thing we want to keep in mind is our reinforcements. We don't always have enough money or recruits to get as many reinforcements as we want, but right now we've got quite a few. Let's see if we can produce anything in terms of war production. And I think we're only going to be getting reinforcements here, unfortunately. The 1st Georgia. All right, so these are the units we can build. List of units available to our nation. We've even got the Union Colored Militia, which of course is an African-American unit that rose up. They mostly had duties of, like, you know, protecting a town, guarding a border. But if you guys have seen the movie Glory, it's only partially true. They were involved in some battles. Several of the colored units were involved in some battles. Of course, not as many as the movie would have you believe, but quite an interesting group there. So I think I am going to go ahead and try to get an infantry brigade in Kentucky here. Let's see if I can get another infantry brigade in Kentucky. Why not? And I think that's going to be it for now. We can't afford anything else, but we're on the path, of course. Let's end the turn. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope Sherman can escape, first of all. He's absolutely my favorite general. All right, Union defeat at the Battle of Bradley, Tennessee. And it looks like Johnston actually fell back, because this army was not going to attack Johnston. So Johnston fell back to try to stop us. 1,519 lost on Johnston's side. At least we're starting to do a little more damage than we were initially. Oh, and hello, Paul Sanders. Good to see you. Sorry, we just took a look at our YouTube viewers, and great to see you there, Paul. I'm also going to give you guys the link here to our Twitch page if you guys want to add us there as well. And for you Twitchers, I'll give you guys a link to, well, actually, I can't give you a link to our YouTube page currently because it's on live dashboard. Hopefully my colleague sees that and can give you guys a link to our YouTube channel. Let's take a look here. I haven't played the campaigns yet, only seen Let's Plays. Can anyone else help? Well, let's see what Wade was asking. All right. Some regional decisions only occur in the campaigns. Yes, this is a good point. And some regional decisions occur in the smaller battles, but the major regional decisions only occur in the Grand Campaign. And we will show you guys the Grand Campaign before the end of this Let's Play. So right there at the Battle of Newport, with George Stoneman, we killed every single Confederate in here. Maybe we took some prisoners. Yeah, we did take some prisoners. It wasn't a total bloodbath, but we absolutely showed them that we are not to be messed with. Okay. So now that we're back near an area that I thought had a depot, let's start building that up. And actually, now that this area is empty, let's go for it. He just got out of a nasty fight, but I'm sending Sherman in to try and attack the area. I mean, it's more or less empty. We've taken Green Tennessee, although as you can see, actually it is mostly pro-Union. I was going to say the people don't like us, but they actually kind of do. It's pretty easy to convince people to support your cause when you're carrying around a rifle. I will say that. We've also got some generals up here. We didn't see these guys before, but we can see them now. We can absolutely bring them down over here, closer to the front. And if you want to move these guys faster, depending on how your rail line is doing, you could try to move by rail. As you can see, that moved our movement down from 9 days to, or 69 days to 5 days. We've also got some units over here, the Foley Brigade, and I'm starting to see some enemy forces here, just small enemy forces, but they could still cause a lot of damage rails, etc. So I'm going to send this guy in on an offensive posture to look for these enemy units. We'll also send in this brigade as well. And these folks over here from the Kentucky Reserve. Why not? All right, guys. That's the one guy. I guess we're just going to build a supply depot with him. And we're going to go ahead and end the turn. Come on, Sherman. Once again, Johnston is attacking McPherson. McPherson doesn't even want to fight. Is Johnston going to attack us? I think he's going to try to attack us right there. That would be incredible. We've got so many men in this area. I want to see if Johnston can actually make it, if he can make this work. I am going to build some defensive works here. So let's do that. Okay, we already got some. Beautiful. And we'll do some more habeas corpus in this same region. I want to try to increase that loyalty as much as possible. Okay. I think that's sufficient. Let's end the turn. Nice. Union victory at Warren, Alabama. Remember, these are the guys we sent out to look for this unit, and it looks like a Mobile Guards unit, 184 of them down. There's 900 of them, which is a pretty nice number for any sort of force, but we managed to beat them. That's the important part. And here we go. Union victory at the Battle of Rome, and this is the first victory I've ever gotten in an Ageods game. Just look at this, with 0 deaths on either side, and the reason being, this is a pack train, so we basically just stepped in front of the train and said, just give us everything you have, unless you want to be shot, and we did take some enemy prisoners. So that worked out beautifully, and it looks like we are now in Floyd, Georgia, which is quite deep into Southern territory, as you can imagine, and now we can really start moving around a bit, and pushing our muscle around, I guess you could say. I'm going to take this fella right here, Army of the Tennessee. We're going to take these guys, move them this way. There's a few army stacks behind this guy as well. I think it's the 4th Corps. Yeah, there we go. And we're going to move them as well to try to assist with the Army of the Tennessee if need be. And it looks like Johnston is going to attack us over here, so I'm definitely going to be on the defensive. I'm going to defend and hold at all costs. So if he does end up attacking us, he's going to beat us, but maybe we'll do enough damage to him that will make him rethink any future attacks, or will severely damage his army. Either one would be really helpful. I'm also going to put a defensive work there. And let's do some habeas corpus over here. Make sure that everybody is on point and trusts us, etc. We could actually also enforce martial law, but I don't think I want to do that. All right, let's do it, boys. End the turn. Yeah, baby. There we go. General John B. Hood is down, 689 down, and Sherman took the area. Looks like we got another general moving over here. But as you can see, looking pretty good. And we're starting to increase our control of these areas. Now, this area is slightly more pro-Confederacy, but I don't think they're going to complain once we take them over. Looks like a nice game, said Salva. Thank you, Salva. Sherman has to escape. He's going to have a tank named after him in 80 years, says Ansbach. Well said indeed. And hello, YouTubers. How you doing? Paul Sanders says, I'm at work listening only as I code myself. Oh, very cool, man. I run this on Win 8.1. I run Civil War 2 on 8.1 as well. Thank you, Paul. And actually, that'll help some of you that were asking whether it would work on these different systems. Paul, I'm actually a PR manager, so I know very little about coding. You guys absolutely do an amazing job with the coding in all of these games. It just really amazes me that someone goes to this depth to create a realistic game and to add all these tooltips. It just amazes me. It really does, and I'm always impressed. So congrats on that, man. We appreciate it. Please do continue coming to our streams. We don't have one tomorrow. We will, however, have one on Friday. Same thing, restreaming on both channels. And I'm just going to keep on sending these guys out. So I'm going to send this guy to Calhoun, Alabama. You don't get much more southern than Calhoun, Alabama. I will say that. And I'm a little worried about this group, Wheeler's Corps. I'm going to try not to think about him too much, but he could be a problem. And look at this, Cheatham's Corps. Man, how did he get so many men? Look at that. That's ridiculous. 3,649 attack power. That's got to be at least 80,000 men. Just a ridiculous amount. We're going to ignore him for now, but we are going to end the turn and see what happens. And that's right. I did promise you guys I'd show you the campaign. I don't want to break my promise. So after this, we'll take a look at the grand campaign. And there we go. Johnston is attacking. And it's a Union victory, guys. We held them back. Remember, I told you guys we were going to hold that line no matter what. We did, and we actually managed to hold them back. This just goes to show you, just because an enemy has more attack power than you do, doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win the fight. You could absolutely win the battle. It depends on any number of things. So in this case, our actual positioning, defending but not letting our men retreat, really kept our guys together. So that's awesome. Might not last forever, but our initial goal was to weaken his army. We've definitely done that, and look at that, 3,313 down. We didn't take any prisoners, so that was a bloody fight for his men. And I think in this next attack, he'll probably wipe out General George Stoneman's army. But it's good to see that Stoneman put up a fight. Pretty good. All right, nice Battle of Marietta victory there. And look at all that blue. We are really taking this area. We just have a giant chunk taken out of Georgia and Tennessee, as well as a little bit of North Carolina. North Carolina. All right, guys, we're going to take a look. Can a general be killed or captured? That's a very good question. I know that in Ali Akdas, generals can be killed. I'm not sure if they can be killed in this game. Again, I'm not 100% certain. I think they can. I think that's a possibility. I've certainly, for instance, had William Tecumseh Sherman behind enemy lines. He's been defeated by an army and suddenly he disappears. Whether that means he was killed, wounded, or captured, I'm not even sure. But I do believe it's a possibility. Again, I'm not 100% on that. Now let's jump into the campaign mode, guys. So I would love to keep playing this campaign, but I did promise you guys I would show you the grand campaign so you guys can get an idea. So in this case, if you want to play the grand campaign, you're going to go to the beginning here, and you're going to go ahead and just do the Civil War full. This is the full theater campaign. If you want to focus on just the East or just the West, that's also an idea. So you could do just the East or just the West over here. I really enjoy the Eastern scenarios. Of course, that's where most of the battles of the Civil War occurred. But the Western scenarios, especially with the Native Americans as part of the war, etc., they can get quite interesting too. As mentioned before by Wavell, you absolutely want to go through these tutorials. There's 3 of them. They're fairly simple. The third one is probably the most complex one, but it's going to teach you a lot of things you need to know. So let's just jump in here. We're going to jump into the main campaign. I'll play as the Confederate States of America. And basically, this goes through the entire war. We're going to go ahead and first change the map to show the owner of all regions. Oh, we already had it on. There we go. And of course, right now, you see that there's no actual units on the field. That's because it takes time. You know, right now, new political options are available. So we're going to go ahead and hit F4. So we can issue war bonds. We can raise taxes. This is what people were discussing before about the possibilities in the grand campaign as opposed to just the regular battles or the short campaigns. So, you know, raising taxes, printing paper money, this is all going to get us money, but it's going to increase inflation, and it could have other detrimental effects, like, for instance, lowering victory points. All of these things are going to affect your army quite a bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at F6 here. So, offer trade concessions. Now, this is an attempt to actually get the European powers to help us. I mean, obviously, if the European powers assist us and we go ahead and impress the European powers overseas, wow, we actually have a chance to win the war. And obviously territorial concessions, these are probably the riskiest, is basically telling France or Great Britain, listen, if you help us during this war, you know, we'll give you maybe Louisiana or Florida or something like that. We'll figure something out. Not something I would recommend. And that's more or less it. Now, of course, these are just the initial ones. There's a lot more that pop up as you continue to play the game. There's also more decisions. As you can see here, we could do demonstrations, covert action to try to incite demonstrations against local authorities. So you can cause little revolts here in the northern capitals, or in the northern cities, I should say. You could really do a pretty good job. You could also export bales of cotton to the Europeans. For this, you get $15,000, which you can imagine during this time was really quite a lot of money. And an interesting thing is that the Confederates have, I'm not sure if the Union has this ability, but they have the ability to develop territory. Now, first you have to find territory that can be cultivated and developed, etc. And at that point, you can make it much more valuable. As you can imagine, a lot of the southern states, they relied on slave labor. They didn't rely on big cities or major industries like that, unless slaves were involved. So a lot of these southern areas are pretty much overgrown with forests, things like this, and you can turn them into much prettier places, better places for your men in general. Let's go ahead and end the turn here. And as the turns progress, sort of as the war continues, you're going to get a lot of historical messages about the war itself. You're also going to start to see armies popping up. You might have to go to your military screen to start actually seeing the armies. And as you can see here, we go to the scripted events, and look at that. Fort Sumter was bombarded, and that's the start of the war. And we can see here Virginia secedes from the Union. Leading Virginia leaders and legislators vote to secede. And through that, we actually got some generals here, which we're definitely going to need later on. We also got some troops as well. Now, if you guys see these troops that are locked, one of two reasons: either they're simply not able to move this turn, or they are local troops, which means the only way they actually will move is if they're attacked. In which case they will stay here as a reserve brigade and just try to defend this area. But that's about the long and short of it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much. Oh, yes, absolutely. Phil Zanis, absolutely. I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really, really appreciate both our friends on YouTube and our friends on Twitch for stopping by. It's just really great to have all you guys here. As I say during all of our streams, always go to our YouTube channels, which in this case would be the Slytherin YouTube channel or the Matrix Games YouTube channel. And if you have an idea of what sort of stream you'd like to see next, let us know. Somebody earlier mentioned Panthers in the Fog. I think that's a great idea. But just let me know, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I hope you guys have an awesome, awesome day. And yes, Phil Zanis, there definitely is. So we have a forum over here. Let me see if I can find it. Civil War 2 forum. And this is the best place to ask questions. So you can either go to the Ageods forums. I recommend just go to the Matrix Games forums. I'm going to put a link here for you. Give me 1 second. Phil Zanis, I would definitely go ahead, add yourself to these forums, ask whatever you want. Most of the guys on these forums know a lot more than I do about the Ageods titles. As much as I love them, these guys are true grognards, true military vets. They know exactly what they're doing. Thank you. No problem, Phil. Always here to help, man. Hope you guys have a great, great day, and I'll see you on Friday, guys, for the next stream. Take care.